Mandela is a Tamil comedy drama film. The story runs around a village panchayat election scenario between two political parties where a barber's vote will determine the fate of the election but with a comedy twist. The film is titled after the late South African President Nelson Mandela. The story starts with an opening scene showing a village's broken and shabbily maintained name board depicting the condition of this poorly developed village called Soorangudi. The brothers, Mathi, born of this mother, Rathinam, born of this mother, both belong to different castes women, but the same father who is the panchayat head addressed as Ayya, played by Sangili Murugan. Their father who is the panchayat head is a peaceful man who married two women, each belonging to different castes, in order to remove the caste clashes among the villages. But it was not the case. This caste difference further leads the village to be divided into southern and northern Surangudi. In the early hours, the men who went to the field to relieve themselves are taken to the Surangudi's new toilet constructed for the first time by the northern caste election candidate Rathinam with coconut symbol, aiming to win at the panchayat election and claims that the facility is to be only used by their northern caste group. This does not go well with the southern Surangudi's election candidate Mathi and his men, causing a rift, and to settle their fight, they call their panchayat head, who is also their father, to give his final decision. The head arrives and says, being a public toilet is meant to be used by everyone, and built a single public toilet so as to use it unitedly. The head volunteers that he will use the facility first so as to stop the men of both castes fighting to use the facility first. By that time, a dog uses this toilet. You should be able to judge by now how obsessed the villagers are with their caste, that no two caste persons preferred sitting or going to a place together. Now, the head's driver is sent to call Smiley, played by Yogi Babu, for cleaning the dog's mess. Smiley, a barber by profession who runs his shop under this banyan tree, is stopped and slapped by the driver for sitting inside the car. Due to caste difference, the driver makes him and his co-worker called Kirda, meaning side one, run behind the car to the location. Now, knowing that Smiley has been called to clean the toilet, his co-worker Kirda shows contempt and sits far away. After Smiley cleans the toilet, Smiley does not receive his payment despite the head handing over Smiley's money to a person. As the panchayat head goes inside the toilet, the men belonging to both the caste group start fighting as to which caste will go after the panchayat head. The men stop fighting for a while when the panchayat head gets a paralysis attack and sent to hospital. However, due to the villagers' obsession with their caste, the men destroy the toilet on the same day of its inauguration, stating that they won't use the facility if it's going to be used by another caste. In my personal opinion, the people could have relieved themselves a long time back if they were left in that field. How did the villagers treat Smiley? Smiley would be given food and made to wash utensils instead of giving payment against his service. Some would even not pay him back. The villagers will regularly send Smiley to bring their ration, though he need not do it. Some would make him come through the back door covered with thorns and thistles. Smiley would not be treated respectfully and called him by names like stupid, dullard, idiot, half-witted. But Smiley would not budge for it. Smiley's house and office was this banyan tree. Let's have a look at what the brothers who are standing for the election are doing for the village. The village water tank was never filled or maintained, and hence the villagers were forced to buy and use packaged water, an arrangement done by Rathinam. Money runs liquor business through men controlled by their alcoholic addiction. The brothers have made no progress in developing the village and instead acquired money and wealth through businessmen and were successful in controlling the village with a divide and rule policy. Even both caste people will avoid sitting together in a bus. But the two caste groups will not mind helping out each other at times. Tenmoli, played by Sheila Rajkumar, is Surangudi's new postal officer. Smiley's money gets stolen, which he saved to build a salon to fulfill his deceased father's wish. When confronted, the man who stole his money and spent it drinking, the man suggests that Smiley should have opened a bank or post office account to safeguard his money. At the post office for opening an account, Smiley meets Molly, who tells him to bring his Aadhaar card, which he does not have. For Aadhaar card, he does not have the ration card. For having the ration card, he does not have voter ID. Tenmoli then suggests, without any ID proof, one cannot open a post office account, but only if he finds his real name from the records, his birth certificate can be retrieved and the same can be used to open an account. He himself and the villagers do not remember, as people have been calling him different names except his real name for a long time, since the time he has been living in this village. Tenmoli suggests a new name, Nelson Mandela, for Smiley, and opens a post office account. She also suggested that he should not allow villagers to call him by any other name but Nelson Mandela. As the panchayat head is recovering from paralysis, both his sons contest for panchayat election when the collector suggests a businessman is ready to offer them 5 crores to the Soorangudis' next president for his new factory nearby village, hiding one fact that the actual offer was 30 crores. The factory owner will give jobs to our villagers, have an income, a proper road, water facility. Soon Tenmoli and Nelson start having feelings for each other. Seeing Nelson distributing the ration to the house, Tenmoli tells him not to feel obligated, as it is because of his service he's given payment and not required to do other jobs thrown at him. Both the brothers, Mathi and Rathinam, pay to their respective caste villages to buy their votes for the election. When Rathinam finds his vote less than Mathi, he succeeds in getting votes from people outside his village. In this desperate, Mathi, not having known anyone outside the village, calls a villager's son from abroad to fill his vote. At the end, when Rathinam finds that he is just having one less vote than Mathi, Rathinam and his men target Mathi's side family's old grandmother in order to drop Mathi's vote by one. Rathinam's plan fails as Mathi and his men chase Rathinam's man out of the house and protect the old grandmother. Here, the old grandmother, under the impression of voting MGR, when she comes to know that her favorite politician MGR has died 30 years, she breathes her last too. Thereby, both election candidates vote to have a draw. As Mathi and Rathinam are contesting hard to save their votes to not slip to each other to win by one vote, both ask their father, but the father insults and sends them away. As both Mani and Rathinam with their men start to have a clash, it grabs their attention when this man tells them he has come to give Nelson's voter ID. Both Madhi and Rathinam run towards Nelson for getting his vote finally to win. Now, when both the men need Nelson's vote, their approach towards him changes, and to see this in the movie is interesting. Mandela is made to climb down with the support of the car for which he got slapped earlier. It's clear that Madhi and Rathinam's attention is only aiming at winning the election, as Mandela's vote will determine the fate of the election. Whenever Mandela tells he is confused whom to vote, Madhi and Rathinam, having road roller and coconut voting symbol, start luring Mandela for his vote to them by replacing his old rusty mirror with new mirror, broken chair with a salon's chair, new clothes to wear, watch, glass, table fan, TV, iron box, cycle, laptop, even bed. The villagers completely changed their attitude towards Mandela by not giving him any mediocre jobs, but offering him delicious food, giving excess payment for his service, giving him the equal status by allowing him to come from their house's front door. When Tenmoli discovers that Mandela is using his voting right in an inappropriate way, she warns Mandela, but Mandela won't budge for anything now, saying since everyone is doing the same, he'll continue to do so. Mandela's dream comes true when the men build his salon. Since Mandela's basic needs were taken care of, he finds no reason to work, and this reflects in his attitude. The women are stopped to relieve themselves at their spot since the men use the nearby spot to drink. Mandela then tells Tenmoli the village is respecting him finally, but Tenmoli clears that they are doing so to gain his vote. After the election day, he will be discarded. Mandela further says he does not care, as he will make as much as money he needs, to which Tenmoli frowns to know that Mandela is ignorant about the voting system that allows voting only one contesting election candidate and leaves after questioning whom will he vote, as both Madhi and Rathinam are favoring him. As Mandela tries learning how to vote from Madhi, who was conning Mandela to vote for him, Rathinam and his men stop Mandela to vote. To stop the fight for Mandela's vote, the collector suggests to bid against his vote, and the bidder who wins will get Mandela's vote. The bidding starts. But Kirda, knowing either Mani or Rathinam on losing this vote, will ensure Mandela to lose his hand, rescues Mandela by announcing a lie that the panchayat head has died. The crowd reach panchayat head's house to know Kirda has conned them, and do not allow Mandela and Kirda to escape and thrash them. The men leave humiliating and thrashing Mandela the most with a warning that he will always suffer this fate when Mandela replies with his usual response that he cannot decide whom to vote. The men destroy all the things given to Mandela. Mandela calls nearby people to get Kirda to the hospital when Mandela finds him unresponsive and his ear bleeding. Both Rathinam and Mathi insist that they will help only when Mandela clears whom will he vote. Looking at Mandela's helplessness towards politics played over his co-worker's hospitalization, who's between life and death situation, a man calls Teen Muli who ignores Mandela and helps the boy to get hospitalized. A visibly frustrated Teen Muli tells Mandela to die as he nearly destroyed the boy's future by misusing his voting right and regrets to keep his name Mandela. Awake at 3 a.m. Mandela trying to kill himself in a place where he is alerted by a woman to not come near as the women have come to relieve themselves. Further explains that they have their privacy as the men do not come at this time. She requests Mandela to help the women by rebuilding the toilet using this vote. Mandela had the realization of using his vote for the right purpose and that both Mathi and Rathinam will still comply with his requirements for his vote. He blackmails Mathi, ordering him to rebuild the toilet for his vote, but Mathi trashes him again and keeps him inside the animal shed. After knowing what Mathi has done, this man confesses to Mathi losing Mandela's vote will make them lose not 5 crore but 30 crore deal with the factory owner and warns Mathi to not lay his hands on Mandela until the election is over. Hearing this, Mandela makes Mathi rebuild the toilet. It is observed that both caste groups now peacefully use this facility. Mandela does not stop here. He goes on to blackmail both Mathi and Rathinam, restoring the water tank supplying water to the villagers, having no need to spend money for buying the packaged water. The school inside the village to continue the children to study and a proper road so that the bus comes inside the village and the travel becomes more convenient. Mandela, who had everything once to eat and survive easily from the freebies given against his vote, now finds it difficult to have a decent meal after setting his path straight. The changed Mandela refuses to eat anything given for free by the villagers. Slowly, the villagers started noticing Mandela and his good deeds. Not just Mandela. The villagers have changed for good. They voted for the parties but returned all the money to both Mathi and Rathinam. Seeing that villagers cannot be made to dance using divide and rule policy, both Mathi and Rathinam plan to remove Mandela permanently. When Mandela is stopped, he tells both Rathinam and Mathi that it is his right to vote anyone he wishes to and needs no interference from them and finally votes. Election day comes to an end, showing Mandela being grabbed by both Rathinam and Mathi to know who he voted for, but Mandela tells them to wait for the result. On video call, Kirda tells Mandela that he will recover in 2 days. Finally, Teen Moli patches up with Mandela by offering food against coloring her white hair and becomes emotional seeing Mandela, who hasn't eaten for many days. As Madhi's men proceed to kill Mandela, both southern and northern caste groups unite and come to protect Mandela. The movie ends without showing whether Mathi or Rathinam won, but the result is declared that Soorangudi as a whole village wins as a redeemed society that now knows to stay united, not obsessed with their caste anymore, and importantly, showing the potential to vote a candidate unless he does the right thing for their village or they vote for someone else. The filmmaker tries to convey through this comedy drama movie that we should not compromise with our right to vote. By selling our rights, we hinder the village or country's development. If we exercise our voting rights, then contesting election candidates will cater to the nation's needs instead of us catering to their selfish gains. Clearly, the filmmaker made a point that voting the right candidate would eventually decide the village, city, or country's development. So we need to responsibly exercise our voting right. Through this movie, the filmmaker has very well conveyed that united we stand and divided we fall. If you haven't seen the movie yet, then go watch it for experiencing stomach twisting comedy to its fullest.